Welcome to the Central Prairie Co-op podcast, your go-to source for all things agriculture. Each week, we bring you expert insights, market trends, and real stories from the field. Whether you're a seasoned producer or joining us for the first time, there is something here for you. So, grab a coffee and let's dive into the business of agriculture from the ground up. Welcome to the Central Prairie Co-op podcast. Joining us today is Jamie Shive, Sales Agronomist, and Jerry Clasen, a Central Prairie Co-op producer. Welcome to the podcast. We are so glad to have you all with us today.
Thank you, Mandy. Jerry, I know you've been here forever in this area. Tell us a little bit about your farming operation, how long you've been a member of Central Prairie Co-op.
Well, I've been farming since 1973, which seems like a long time ago. Me and my wife, we have a farming operation, mainly row crops, alfalfa, some cover crops, southwest of Nickerson primarily. Had 3 kids. They're all adults now, grown. One of them's involved in livestock with this operation. My oldest daughter is a teacher at Hutch, JUCO, and the youngest son works for AGCO. So I'm pretty much a one-man show right now, but I do get help from my wife and my kids.
You do a great job at it.
I hope so.
I mean, you do a great job. I'm guessing you farmed with your dad. What originally brought you to the co-op and kept you coming back over the years? Because you've seen lots of changes in the co-op since.
Yes, I have. Well, my dad was a strong supporter of the cooperative system. When I was growing up, he was a strong member at our local co-op that was back at Andale at that time, but back then, there was very little competition. You know, it's just your local co-op was about it. It was a one-stop shop. You got your fertilizer there, your seed, your fuel, propane, feed for your livestock. Very little competition back then. And I've just stayed with the co-op system. You know, I'm a stock owner. We own part of this company, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, which it is. And they provide a lot of services. I've stayed with them. They seem to have everything I need. There is competition today, lots of it. But I'm lucky to be close to the Nickerson elevator and Adams Corner, the agronomy department, and, of course, the Nickerson seed store. So it's convenient. There's a lot of conveniences.
Yes.
Here for me, and they've done me a good job. So as long as I find that they're doing a good job, I'm going to stay with them.
Can you share a time when the co-op, Central Prairie, has really made a difference for your operation?
Well, one of the main things that stuck out was years ago, the grain margins between the Hutchison terminal elevators and Nickerson were pretty wide. There was a time when we hauled our grain to Hutchison, and we picked up an extra 35, sometimes 40 cents a bushel. When Nickerson or Central Prairie Co-op decided to narrow their margins down and get closer to what the margins were from Hutchison, why it was easier to go to Nickerson, shorter lines.
Yes.
And for just a few pennies less, basically. And I just didn't feel like it was worth that extra liability of driving semis to Hutch down through town. And I just feel more comfortable by going to the local elevator.
Mm-hmm. So since 73, been a lot of changes in agriculture.
Oh, yeah.
Going to no-till, and it seems like it's ever evolving as it is right now to this day. What changes have you seen over the years, and how has the co-op helped you adapt to them changes?
Well, like you said, we went from, my dad was a mulch tiller back then. He realized we needed some trash on top to keep soil from blowing away. I started with that, and now we're a full no-till operation, trying a lot of new things. Things are really changing. It used to be our main focus was everything growing above ground. We had our soil tests, fertilizer. We knew what we needed to raise a crop, but now we're finding out that there might be some biological stuff going on underneath the ground that is maybe something we need to pay more attention to. But the whole problem with that is making it economically feasible.
Absolutely.
We've got to make it pay. There's a lot of things you can buy out there and try, but if it doesn't make you money, well, you can't do it and stay in business.
Yeah, there's a lot of people making stuff in their garage, saying it'll work and no data to back it up.
And that's another thing. Who do you trust?
Yep.
What products to try? And then tying that in with Central Prairie Co-op, you guys are now handling some different products. I trust your research and checking what you think is maybe the better product of several, and whether we can make it economically feasible in the future.
Well, that brings me to fits right in with my next question. With the sustainability practices show up in your operations, I know kind of what you're doing, and in what ways can Central Prairie help support these, and have they supported them?
Well, there again, just having the options of what we can try. There's just so many things on the market. It's hard to make a decision. There's some stuff that's really making an impact. I know that from what I'm reading and from testimony from other farmers that are doing it. It's there, but there again, we need to make it economically feasible.
Well, I come from a plowing background and everything like that too. So I've been kind of steadfast against a lot what's out there as sustainability, but after listening to you guys, you being on the Reno County Conservation Board and other people, it's kind of opened my eyes and broadened myself as that too. I mean, we got to look at some sustainability, and I think we can gain some yield and some good agronomics out of paying more attention to soil health and conservation and stuff like that. I agree totally with you. So.
Well, that's and that was another thing. I've seen a lot of changes, and by trying some of this stuff,
right,
and leaving residue on top of the ground, it just makes sense. It keeps the ground cooler. Mm-hmm. There's less transpiration. There's less evaporation. And the last year was a unusually wet year, but the 3 years prior to that, we were in a drought. And boy, that showed up.
Yes.
The no-till, the more residue on the ground, the more moisture we had. And we raised some decent crops, actually. They might not have made any money, but we raised a decent crop. It made me feel good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We did raise some good crops last year. It was like we'd spoke in previous conversations. I think what we threw out there for the 4 years of drought, we really got to utilize last year. And it still comes down to moisture.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing.
It's amazing what happens when it rains.
If you could give a piece of advice to other growers about getting the most value from the co-op, something like that.
Oh, I've thought about that. I guess the main thing I would like to put out there is to keep an open mind when it comes to the services and the products that the co-op has. There's a lot of people out there that'll knock on your door and try to sell you something, and they're a couple pennies cheaper or $1 cheaper, and they'll tell you that they have the service to go with it, and some of them do.
Mm-hmm.
But I always try to keep in the back of my mind that when I listen to all that, at the end, I think, are they going to pay me a prorate on this at the end of the year? I mean, some years when the co-op's profitable and makes some money, we get some pretty nice prorate back.
Right.
I know there's some years it's pretty tight and you don't see much. And I understand that the co-op has to be. They have to be profitable too. But that co-op is out there and we own it. And by that, I mean the producers and the farmers. it's good for the rural economy, and I think we need to support our local businesses. And I've served on the co-op board. I served 2 terms back in the 80s, and I was one of the guys that, I was quick to point out all the bad things that they were doing. But when you sit down with a board, and after about the first 3 years being on board, you realize that this is a big business. It's an agribusiness, and you learn to look at it from different people's perspective. And as a board, everybody has their opinion, and you need to listen to them. And when it's all said and done, there's usually some pretty good results come out of these. So I'm not quite as quick to judge nowadays as I used to be. But we're the owners and the producers, and I just feel like we need to support the local business.
Thank you for your time today.
No problem.
I really appreciate it. I really enjoy working with you.
Well,
the 8 years we've worked together.
Yeah.
Hope we continue.
I think you will. You guys have done a good job. At least you've done a good job for me. I know you can't be there to spray right away.
I wish we could.
I've learned to have a little patience too over the last 53 years of farming.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mandy.
Yes, thank you both, Jerry and Jamie, for coming out and talking with us today. For our listeners, if you have questions about your own farming operation, our sales agronomists would love to visit with you. Give us a call at 620-278-2470, and be sure to tune in next week to the Central Prairie Co-op podcast, where we talk all things ag from the ground up.